All right, guys, let's do this. Let's do stolen inheritance part 5. And my positive affirmation of the day is to my enemies, whoever they may be, get in your jail cell. That's my positive affirmation for today. But let's get to stolen inheritance part 5, guys. Let's do this.
Awaken your functioning. Awaken your spirit chosen. Yeah, this ain't your average family drama. This is spiritual warfare meets federal indictment. And guess what? The FBI knows. A confidential informant from within their own circle has dropped the bomb. Files are being pulled, devices tapped, bank accounts frozen. And the demons they partnered with, let's just say, they're not the loyal type when the heat turns up. Here's the fact. Since 2020, federal agencies have dramatically increased their surveillance of occult-linked criminal rings hiding in plain sight, in churches, nonprofits, and yes, even in family-owned businesses. A large number of them operating through Masonic-affiliated networks. It's no longer a conspiracy theory. It's a classified reality, and indictments are coming. They thought you were the black sheep. Turns out you were the holy disruption, the glitch in their spiritual matrix, the walking evidence with divine backing. And let's be honest, the same relatives who said, "You're just paranoid," are about to be on the news looking like characters from an episode of CSI, Occult Edition. So,
The news, on the news, that's going to be, if that'd be one of the best days of my life. Anybody want to know what would it feel like when I see my enemies on the news? People I grew up with, family, relatives. What am I going to be thinking if I see these people on the news getting locked up? Guys, that's going to be the happiest day of my life. That's how I'm going to feel about it.
buckle up, because Chosen One FBI raids are on the way. These demonic Masons and family members are going to jail.
You know, the thing about it, guys, is that, again, kindness is often seen as weakness in this world. But I'm going to tell you guys my honest opinion of people who are perceived to be kind. Those are the most dangerous people, man. Those are the people who really don't have emotion. They're like, the only reason they nice is because they're trying to like not hurt people. Whether emotionally, spiritually, psychologically, fit like somebody who being nice in a world like this, where we know that injustices occur all day long. And somebody being nice to me, I always think that there's some underlying. I say this is the motherfucker. It be the people who be acting out like they're tough that I know is really weak as fuck.
You were born to expose this, and now heaven and earth are backing you all the way. Number one, they used blood ties as a disguise for ritual abuse. They called it family, but it was never love. It was a setup. They wrapped control in the disguise of...
I'm telling you the truth. There were people, guys, in the family that knew I was not the one to play with. I told you guys in the past about a cousin that would call me, and every time I talked to this broad, I end up going off. One time she talked about we family. I said, I don't give a fuck about no family. And you mean tell me that didn't hit this individual like maybe? But it didn't matter because they had numbers. And because they had numbers, it didn't matter to them because stupid people think that numbers really matter. You know, they got something called an atom bomb. And an atom is like the smallest thing out here. But an atom can cause the most damage. The smallest thing out here can cause the most damage. Just think about that.
Culture, tradition, and blood ties. But the truth is, it wasn't dysfunction. It was ritual. Every humiliation, every betrayal, every strange family pattern wasn't random. It was spiritual conditioning.
Guys, imagine growing up in a family where, you know, indigo people, they're known to have like more of an intuition. So imagine the cognitive dissonance that I went through growing up where you know that something is wrong, but you can't put your finger on it. but you know something is wrong, but you have to continue like everything's okay, because you can't, if you do this, they're going to say you that. If you do that, they're going to say you this. It's like a no-win. It's a catch-22. It's a no-win situation. That's why I get a little triggered when people talk about people pleasing, because I'm like, look, you know, make that judge somebody on being a people pleaser when they know the facts, not when they stuck in a catch-22. That's not a kind place to actually judge an individual. And I'm speaking from my own perspective, and I'm teaching myself as I'm talking. Never judge nobody when they stuck in a catch-22. It's nothing. I mean, what are you supposed to do? You see, uh, I don't see myself as a people pleaser. If anything, guys, the only reason I will please people is to find out who they really are. Because sometimes pleasing people don't work. They still end up being an asshole to you. And that's when I say, I got you, you know? Other than that, I love pleasing people. I always please people. And you just hope that people treat you, the same back. But that's just hope. It's not like I please people and think, oh, this motherfucker can never do anything to me wrong. Bullshit. I throw out like, guys, I already told y'all, man, I got nothing to hide. I throw out like, if I'm pleasing somebody, especially somebody I don't know very well, you best believe I'm just testing you. That's all I'm doing. I haven't. It's not like I'm just totally given to whatever you're showing up as to be factual. I'm testing you. If I'm being nice to you, you're under investigation. But you better believe that.
They weren't just toxic. They were trained to break you. They were trained to block your light, sabotage your growth, and trap your soul in a cycle they never escaped themselves. It's deeper than favoritism, neglect, or manipulation. These people knowingly or unknowingly entered into spiritual agreements that sacrificed the well-being of one child to maintain power, money, and protection for the rest of the bloodline. That child, more often than not, was the chosen one, the scapegoat, the one sent into the family as a disruptor, a breaker of generational curses. That's you. You weren't just misunderstood, you were marked. From the moment you were born, they knew something was different about you. The way you saw through their lies. The way you asked questions no one else would dare ask. The way you refused to stay silent when everyone else bowed to the dysfunction. They called you rebellious, dramatic, ungrateful. But deep down, they were terrified, because you were the one thing they couldn't control. Their goal was to break your spirit early. That's why you went through things you couldn't explain. Emotional abuse, spiritual attacks, betrayals that didn't make sense. You were placed in a psychological maze built to crush your soul from the inside out. But it didn't work, and that's their worst fear. You survived it. Now the spell is broken. You see them clearly. And the authorities are starting to as well. The things they did behind closed doors aren't hidden anymore. Heaven kept the receipts. And the earthly system, it's catching up. That fake love, that forced loyalty, that we're family guilt trip. It's not going to save them this time. They didn't just cross a moral.
Yeah, I can see clearly now. The rain is gone. I can see all obstacles in my way.
Line. They crossed a spiritual one. And now the price is due. Number 2. The family name was a front for a secret lodge. They made the family name look normal on the surface. Just a last name, like anyone else's. But that name held a secret. It wasn't just a label. It was...
I told you guys when I moved to Vegas, they tried to send some so-called family member who looked nothing like me, talking about, and this woman tried to get me to come to some lodge. I ended up going off on this woman, and when I did that, her and her daughter erased themselves off my Facebook. But guys, I have people running. I'm not a people pleaser. I'm telling you, if you guys knew the shit that I have done, I am not a people pleaser. I send people running. And if I hadn't sent people running, I could have been in some serious trouble. What if I had to get out to Vegas by myself? Oh my God, I don't know nobody. I just got to be around people. I'm alone. Oh, help me. Oh, come to some lodge. You're my family. Okay. That's never been me, y'all. Do you think I'd be sitting here talking to you guys right now if I was that kind of character?
The spiritual brand tied to hidden agreements, generational rituals, and dark covenants passed down quietly from one generation to the next. You weren't born into a regular family. You were born into a system that used the disguise of unity and tradition to cover up spiritual control and corruption. Some of these families have been tied to secret lodges for decades, even centuries. The Masonic ties weren't always public, but they were real. You weren't just raised in a household, you were raised in an atmosphere of spiritual secrecy. The family name was a cover for deeper affiliations, some of which involved occult practices, spiritual manipulation, and coded loyalty to force.
Yeah, strength doesn't come from secrecy, man. Strength comes from truth. That's for sure.
That had nothing to do with God. They had rules that didn't make sense, silences that felt dangerous, and people you were told never to question. That's not culture. That's programming. You ever wonder why the family defended certain members no matter what they did? Why abusers were protected and truth-tellers were isolated? It's because the name had to be preserved, not the truth. They weren't protecting individuals. They were protecting the network. A network that relied on everyone playing their role and keeping the image intact. That's why your awakening was a threat.
And they thought it was so funny, guys. They thought it was so funny. You think that these people would at least had there's nothing decent about operating evil out of secrecy. There's nothing, there's no honor amongst thieves. But I'm just saying, you would think that these people would have just bowed their heads and did what they had to do, with all the laughing and stuff. But the laughing just goes to show you how evil people is who do things like this.
Started breaking patterns, asking questions, telling the truth. And the moment you broke out of their illusion, you exposed the cracks in the system. Your healing made their sickness visible. And now, what they buried under family secrets is being dug up by legal investigators. It wasn't just dysfunction. It was spiritual fraud. That name they wore so proudly is now being flagged in systems.
Yeah, and they're getting desperate now because you know what they're doing, y'all? They're trying to send me emails. They're trying to send me messages on YouTube, stuff like that. That's why my positive affirmation for those individuals is stop emailing me and stop sending me messages. Get in your jail cell. That's my affirmation for these individuals. Let me see, guys. We got 1 minute left.
Viewed by agencies and connected to activities they thought no one would ever trace. But it's all coming to light. That family name they weaponized for generations is now,
and I will be changing my name,
attached to a growing list of evidence. And they can't scrub it clean this time. Number 3. You were the one they couldn't program. You were the one they couldn't get to conform, and it drove them mad. They tried every tactic.
Guys, I've asked myself, just to end this, I've asked myself all the time growing up why I was not like these people. Nothing like these people. Nothing like them. There was a time I used to make fun of people and laugh too, but there gets a certain point in life where you start getting serious about things, and things are not funny anymore. But these people still stay in the background laughing, cackling. I said, why are these people jackals and hyenas? And I'm not. So anyway, guys, we're going to go ahead and end it here. Time's about to run out on my phone. All right. And I'll holler at y'all later. All right. Peace.